So the Valle d'Aosta is completely alpine, isn't it? There's actually very little space to grow vines. Most of it is mountains.
Yeah, it's very small. It's like the letter V, so mountain very high and not so much place in the center of city. We are in the high part of Aosta Valley, so near the Mont Blanc, so near the Courmayeur, the tourist, one of the most important village in Aosta Valley. In our zone, there is no place because the mountain had the maximum of the territory.
Welcome to this special Clubhouse session of the Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as members of the Italian wine community engage in fascinating conversations about contemporary wine topics. If you enjoyed the show, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. And remember to subscribe and rate the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your pods.
Hi everyone, this is Beatrice welcoming you to the Italian Wine Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner, one of the top-ranked shows on Italian Wine Podcast. Here, our ambassadors get the mic to interview their favorite producers with total freedom. And if you miss it live, no worries. It's all recorded and dropped later on the Italian Wine Podcast. Today's guest host is James MacNay. James MacNay is an Italian wine ambassador living in Piemonte's Western Alps. He ran Cucolo Cheeses and Wine in East Sussex with his wife Cinzia for 15 years before they returned to their roots in the travel industry. He and Cinzia design and run specialist wine and walking trips in the Italian wine regions. Today he's gonna interview Ninive of Pavese and Figli in Morgex. So James, Ninive, how you doing, guys?
Really good, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
So James, are you ready for our 3 ritual questions?
I sure am.
Perfect. So, how did you discover the wines of Pavese and Figli?
Well, we're lucky enough to have a little house in the mountains of Valle d'Aosta in a town called Valtournenche, and we use it several times a year. And every time I come, I make sure to pick up a bottle of Pavese Figli wine to enjoy with at least one of my evening meals.
Perfect. So tell us, why did you select Ninive as your featured guest?
I think the story of the wines and winemaking in Morgex is fascinating. It's a completely unique region, a subzone of the Valle d'Aosta DOC, and Ninive will tell us all about it, and I think it's a story that needs to be told.
What are the learning objectives that we should expect from this interview?
So we're going to talk more broadly about the Valle d'Aosta, winemaking in the Valle d'Aosta, and very specifically, of course, in the far end of the Valle d'Aosta in the Morgex and La Salle subzone. So we'll learn about that. We'll learn about the terrain, the mountainous landscape, the soils, the grape, Prié Blanc, and how winemakers make their wine and grow their vines there. And then we'll talk as well to Ninive about the life of a winemaker in these really dramatic conditions, and talk about the Pavese Figli wines, the different cuvées that they make. And I'd like to go in a little bit as well into the commercial reach of the wines of Morgex and La Salle, because it's only relatively recently that they've been available on the wider market. So I'm interested to learn how that has developed.
Perfect. That sounds like a really nice plan and really long also, James. So it's time for me to mute myself. Now I'm turning over the floor to you, James. Have a nice interview, guys.
Thank you very much. Hey, Ninive, how are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much for inviting me in this interview.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. So, Ninive, it's a French pronunciation, really, isn't it? Which is not unusual in the Valle d'Aosta. Could you tell us a little bit about the French influence in your little corner of Italy?
Yeah, we are the region next to French, so we use the French language very common. We study French at school 3 years old to 16 years old, so for the maximum time at the school. It's very important for us because we have a big influence in the story with French. So for that, we have this name in the most part of Aosta Valley in French.
Yeah, so whenever we visit the Valle d'Aosta, the Aosta Valley, we always see the road names in French and the place names are all in French, so it's a strong francophone region. So you say you're close to the French border. Could you describe, if imagine that we're looking at a complete map of Italy, could you describe where the Valle d'Aosta is on that map?
We are in the north-ovest of Italy, in the top of Italy, so Italy is above in the map, and we look the part in height and in the left. We are here, very small region, the smaller region in Italy.
So you've got the French border on one side and also the Swiss border on another, haven't you?
Exactly, yeah. We are a region very important for the passage for the commercial from the Switzerland and from the French, and for the other part of Europe too.
Yeah, and that's a history that goes back even to Roman and pre-Roman times, isn't it?
Yeah, in the story, Aosta Valley was very important for people because it's very used for the transport of the food or other goods needed the people.
A fascinating history in the Valle d'Aosta. I highly recommend anyone who visits the region to spend some time in the museums and at the different Neolithic and Roman sites dotted along the valley, and beautiful castles as well. So the Valle d'Aosta is completely alpine, isn't it? There's actually very little space to grow vines. Most of it is mountains.
Yeah, it's very small. It's like the letter V, so a mountain very high and not so much place in the center of city. Except in the zone where we are. We are in the high part of Aosta Valley, so near the Mont Blanc, so near the Courmayeur, the tourist, one of the most important village in Aosta Valley. In our zone, there is no place because the mountain had the maximum of the territory. There is now the plain, is everything rocks.
Your end of the valley, so if you imagine that the Valle d'Aosta extends from the plains of Piemonte to Mont Blanc at the French border, and at your end of the valley, I think people who have visited it, who are listening, will often have visited it either to do some skiing in Courmayeur, or perhaps they drove through it. If they're driving from France down into Italy, they may have come through the Mont Blanc tunnel, and you just get a fleeting glimpse as you pass from tunnel to tunnel, and you don't really see the beautiful scenery of the area where you live and you make your vines. Could you describe that area? I'm thinking in particular of the layout of the vineyards, because it's quite a special formation that the vineyards take, isn't it?
Yeah, we are, I think, one of the unique zone where we use the low pergola, in Italian pergola bassa. So it's like the height pergola, but the altitude is 1 meter, 1.20 meters. So very near to the earth. We have also the terrace, so it's not so easy to cultivate in our zone, in Aosta Valley in general. And we use this particular pergola because we need all the protection for the climate is in our zone. So from the rain, for the wind, most from the wind because it's very windy zone.
Yeah, I understand. We'll come back to the winemaking in a minute. But first, can I ask a couple of questions about you? You grew up in this beautiful picture postcard area. What was it like for you as a young girl growing up in this area?
I like so much live here and growing up here. We are in a little paradise. It's not easy because there is no services, not much fun zone for young people. We know each other, so there is no privacy. But I think it's a style of life. I like my place. I like live in a natural world, and I don't need all the services the city can give me. It's not easy. I have a lot of people of my age don't like this little town and prefer to leave this place and go in Turin or Milan. But I think it's most for the possibility give the city and the little town don't give. Because here I have the family, so I have the industry of my family, so I have the work. We are in a very tourist zone, so if you like to work with tourists, it's okay. But if you don't want to make this typology of work, it's not the ideal zone.
Yeah, I see. So were your family always in the wine business? They always grown grapes and made wine?
My dad started the company, so not also my family, because my granddad don't had the company of winemaking. But my family is here from a lot of time and like the cultivation. So my granddad from my dad and my granddad from my mom also have the land and some vineyard to make homemade wine or homemade flowers, for example. So my dad bring the passion for the nature, for this work, I think, from my granddad. Usually here had land and winemaking, vineyard for making home wine, because we are in very small town, so it's normal.
So you said earlier that there is a tendency for younger people to leave the area and go to the cities in search of adventure and excitement. Is there perhaps more of a trend for people to come back as well? Because has winemaking in Morgex and La Salle become more fashionable?
Yeah, I think in the last year there is, after COVID, I think, more interesting for the original place. So the young guys wanted to return in the original place where they growing up, because they understand the importance of the territory. In the same time, I think it's not easy, because it's not easy work. So we need a little bit of clear idea. But in the Morgex and La Salle, we are a lot of young people working the winemaking on here in agricultural work. So it's very good for me, this point of view.
I think that's really good news. It's great to hear there is a group of young people who are interested in returning to their roots and to the area. Do you think that your winery has been important in raising the profile of the wines of Morgex et La Salle?
I think our company is one of the most important, because we are one of the biggest in the area of Morgex and La Salle, because the other winemaker are very small, so they don't make the wine for work, but like a second work, like a hobby. So our company had more possibility, because we made wine for work and for making a special bottle for Asta Valle wine.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's great that you've been at the forefront of, I wouldn't even call it a renaissance, because it's still new, commercially speaking. It's still a new area, even though you have been making wine in the area for hundreds of years. When I came to visit you recently, you told me a remarkable statistic, which is how many hectares do you farm?
My company had 8 hectares of vineyard and 7 hectares of land for agricultural part, because we don't produce only wine. But in total of our zone of Prié Blanc is 30 hectares.
30 hectares in total, of which you have 8. But how many parcels of land, of vineyards, of vines in those 8 hectares do you have?
We have more than 200 parts.
That's absolutely incredible. 200 parcels of land in spread across 8 hectares. And something else you told me was that you farm those parcels on behalf of other people in the town. Could you tell me a little bit more about how that happens, about the history of that arrangement?
This division is because One time the people give to the child a little part of land for each other. So one person give to 5 child part of land, then this person make other childs, so other part. So now we have a very small part of land, and this made a big fragmentation of the territory.
And so you look after the vineyards for maybe some older people in the local town as well.
Yeah, exactly. My dad, when started the company, had some meters of vineyard, and he was very young, so the old people of the town give him the vineyard.
It's a wonderful story. I think it's a great thing. So you named the grape earlier, and there is just one single grape that is grown at this altitude, at this part of the valley. And what's the name of the grape?
The grape is Prié Blanc.
And can you find it anywhere else?
No, only here. Only here in Morgex and Salle, 2 little towns of a height of Aosta Valley.
So tell us a little bit about Prié Blanc, about maybe the history, if you know some history about it. I know it's quite a mysterious grape, but also what's it like to grow? Tell us about its growing season.
Prié Blanc is a grape so born only here in this little place of Aosta Valley, because he like the climate, he like the altitude, he like the earth of the zone. Here we have at 900 meters, and the Prié Blanc growing up to 1,300 meters. Of course, he stay only in the part of the sun, so Aosta Valley had principally 2 sides, the north side and the south side, and Prié Blanc growing up in the south side, so where there is the sun. The story about this vineyard is not so sure, because nobody studies so good this grape. We know about it for is in this zone to 1,200, so very long time. And we know this because there is some letter of the church. So we think this wine was used for making wine for the church people, but we don't know. It's a mystery. We are so near to France and Switzerland, so probably arrive from this zone. Then he changes characteristic for the climate different are in our zone. So the acidity and the high minerality of our grape is given by the altitude and the minerality in the earth that is in our zone. So it's a very big mystery about Prié Blanc, but I think we write the story now, and our company of Prié Blanc is very fun because nobody try to had important the Prié Blanc, and as we try to become Prié Blanc a very important grape, like other important grape of the world. We try.
You did a very good job. So in terms of the situation in which you grow the grapes, you've got mountains, which means you have a large diurnal temperature shift, a big difference between day and night temperatures. And it also has a short growing season, doesn't it?
Yeah. The difference about the temperature during the day and during the night is very important for the acidity of the grapes. So it's very, very important, most during the summer season. And the cycle of the maturation of Prié Blanc is a little bit different between other grape, because it is very fast. It started to open the flower during May and in the beginning of June. During the 3 months of the summer, need all the sun possibility, so the worm for growing up, because the harvest is in September, in the middle of September. So usually the season of overture of the flowers start in the last period of the spring. Now with this climate change, we have some problem because it starts before, but in our zone we are very high, so there is the frost during the spring. Are not so fun.
Yeah, that must cause some problems sometimes. Have you had any bad experiences with frost recently?
Yes, the bad experience is in the 2017 when we lost the 99% of the production because winter was its end in February. The vineyard started the period of maturation before, and during the April arrived the frost, very big frost. So the temperature go down the 0, 10, 8, so a little bit down. Flower frost, so if the flower frost the fruit, don't mature the fruit. So in the 2017 it was very bad. We have problem every year for the frost, especially on the little plants, because we plant every year a new vineyard, and the little plants are very near to the earth, so more near to the part cold, and they are less protected.
So, yeah, you have to deal with extreme weather conditions that can be damaging to the plant, but there are also some benefits to growing vines where you grow them around the amount and quality of sunshine you get and the lack of humidity, the dry air. Could you tell us about those two factors as well?
Yeah, we have only the problem for the weather because we don't have other problem like insect or other maladies. For that, we don't have the phylloxera, so Prié Blanc is not griffed, is a very important factor because this help us to have more strong vineyard for protect them to the weather.
So may I just interrupt you and just explain, if there's anybody listening who isn't familiar with the term either phylloxera or grafted vines, could you just quickly explain what those two terms mean?
Yes, I try with my English very.
You're doing fantastically well. Your English is great.
Thank you so much. Phylloxera is not insect, but a parasite comes in Europe after the cover of America, and he destroyed a lot of vineyard because he hit the rules of the plants. But in our zone, it don't come because we are too high. So too cold the climate I don't like so much. I prefer warm climate. And because we have a salty earth, so very fine, it had the difficult to go to the rules. So for that we save for the phylloxera, and we have the original rule of our vineyard. This helps us because the vineyard are more strong, and we give us the possibility to produce alone the new plant of for making new vineyards.
Yeah, that's so important, I think. And that sandy soil that you talked about, the Aosta Valley, is a glacial valley, isn't it? There was a huge glacier that came from Mont Blanc and then retreated to leave the formation of the valley now, and it leaves that soil that the phylloxera bug can't tolerate, that and the cold as well. Really interesting part of the story. So tell us now a little bit about how you pick the grapes once the harvest is ready, because that's a story in itself as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we make the harvest during the middle of September, and is everything by hands because our vineyard don't have the possibility to enter with a tractor or with a machine. Don't exist machine for making harvest with low pergola, so we don't have the possibility to buy. So the only method we can use for make harvest is by hand, one grape by one grape. It's not easy, but is the quotidianity here. So we record everything in a basket, and the basket go in the cellar, and we put one basket by one basket in the press. So it's very long moment. Also, if we don't have a lot of hectares, so.
You have to travel a lot between the 250 different parcels that you have. You described the low pergola training system, pergola bassa. How high are the pergole?
The pergola is now 1 meter, 1 meter 20, but one time was very, very near to the earth because this structure give to the grape a protection, but less years ago need also for more warm from the sun and from the earth for a maturation more fast. The warm of the earth during the night was very important for the grape for growing up for the harvest in September.
Interesting. So that low structure, the pickers have to bend over, I guess, to get under the vine. It sounds very difficult.
Yeah, you need to stay under pergola, and so like in the bed, but not so comfortable.
Okay, so we've got our mountains with our extreme cold snaps, the danger of frost. We've got our sandy soil. We've got our low pergola training system, and all of this is in favor of one single grape, so Prié Blanc. And now you've told us now about how you pick the vines. Take us into your cantina. Tell us a little bit about your winemaking once you've done your harvest.
We make a lot of different typology of Prié Blanc. So with one grape only, we produce different typology of wine. Every wine changed by the winemaking in the cellar. So we produce the most part the base form of Prié Blanc, so a classic Blanc de Morgex de la Salle. Blanc de Morgex de la Salle is the name of the production of Prié Blanc grape. And after we produce also oak wine, ceramic wine, sparkling wine, and sweet wine.
And so what are the characteristics of Prié Blanc? Let's imagine that you just do a straightforward fermentation in stainless steel and nothing else. What would the wine taste like?
Prié Blanc had two characteristics, the high acidity and the high minerality. So a very fresh wine. When we drink a glass of Prié Blanc, we smell the Aosta Valley, the clima of the snow, so it is very fresh. At the nose, we smell green apple, or fruit very acid, and white flower, because we had a lot of flower near the vineyard. And it is for the still fermentation. After with the other fermentation or other winemaking, there is something different.
First, talk us through your main cuvée, the Blanc de Morgex, the still white wine. Tell us about how you make that and give us an idea of its flavour profile.
Blanc de Morgex de la Salle Classic, made 9 months in the still, so very easy production in the cellar, and then go in the bottle. It's very young because fortunately we don't have the time to make aging in the bottle in the cellar. Everything we produce is to sell, but the capacity of aging in the bottle of Prié Blanc is very high because that is very high acidity. It can stay in the bottle 20 years without problem. So my opinion is very good young like we produce, but if you have the capacity to keep the wine in cellar, it's very good after 1 year is better because this high acidity had the Prié Blanc go down, and the minerality, so these rocks, this fresher is better in the glass for me.
Yeah, I understand. Tell us about your sparkling wines. It's classic method.
Yeah. Sparkling wine experiment we start in the first time in the 2005, very in the beginning of the company because the company started in 1999. After this the first experiment, we don't produce more because we don't have space. So for making classic method, we need a lot of space. We restarted the production of classic method after 2010, so when we made the ampliation of the cellar. And after 2010, we produced every year. Produce classic method, a little bit gastronomic, so no so easy because we like sparkling wine a little bit complex. First time the base of sparkling wine stay 1 year, 11 months in the still after we bottling for the second fermentation. And the difference between our sparkling wine is the permanence on the yeast. We made the minimum 2 years, so 24 months. Then we produce a 36 months, 48 and 60 months on the yeast. So 5 years in maximum. Then my dad made a lot of experiments. So we produced also a 10 years on the yeast for our 25th birthday of the company. After the permanence on the yeast, our sparkling wine don't have any liqueur de dosage, all pas dosé, so without sugar inside. We use for liqueur de dosage the same wine of the same age. So Prié Blanc, the same age. For example, now we have the 24 month 2022 vintage, and the 48 is 2020 vintage. So the difference is also the permanence on the yeast.
I can testify to the fact that they are really, really exceptional classic method sparkling wines. Tanti complimenti.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. So then we talk about the different maturations of the still wines. So you do have one that goes into oak, don't you?
Yeah, we have the oak wine is the Nathan is the name of my brother. My dad decided to give one wine for one child. So Nathan is oak wine. Is our important wine in Italy because had a lot of article about spoke about it. Is a very big pleasure because it's not usual to put Prié Blanc in the oak because Prié Blanc is a white grape, very acid. So oak give a lot of structure at this wine. We try to research a balance between the acidity and the oak center. The wine made 2 days of maturation in the press. After go in the oak for 1 year, we use French oak barrique, so 300 liter small barrel. After 1 year, we put together in the inox and stay 6 months. After 6 months, we bottling the wine and it's ready to drink. Then is our one of our best wine for aging because I have this part of vanilla and tobacco give by the oak need more structure and more capacity to have a very elegant aging in the bottle. Respect the Prié Blanc, the Blanc de Morgex de la Salle base form is more gastronomic wine, is ideal with some white meat, for example.
They are extremely gastronomic, aren't they? They're great for as an aperitif, especially the younger classic wines, but they pair very nicely with food, all sorts of different foods. And so when I was visiting you recently, you happened to have, to my great delight, a bottle, I think it was 2012, wasn't it, of the still classic Prié Blanc. Tell us a little bit about how the wine ages. You said before that it was age-worthy. Can you tell us a little bit about how it develops over time, the flavours, I mean?
Aging Prié Blanc for me is better because the acidity go down and the wine is more around in the mouth, so we don't have this acidity like the lemon in the mouth, but we have more elegance. Then we pass ahead the smell, fruit a little bit mature, not so much mature. So in the young Blanc de Morgex de la Salle, we have green apple. In the aging Blanc de Morgex de la Salle, we have more red apple, for example. So I smell a little bit more sweet, but there is this minerality of Prié Blanc more important in the aging wine. So come out this minerality is for me very, very, very interesting. Blanc de Morgex de la Salle young is very ideal for apero time or with some food very easy. The aging Blanc de Morgex de la Salle is more fun for have a combination with the food.
And so we can't talk about food without talking a little bit about the cuisine of the Valle d'Aosta. So I have in my mind, I'm standing under the brilliant blue sky of the head of the valley, and I'm looking at Mont Blanc, Monte Bianco, and I have the brilliant verdant greens of the Prié Blanc vineyards all around me. I have in my hand a glass of, say, the Blanc de Morgex Classic, the younger one. So what would I have as my food pairing with that?
With Blanc de Morgex and La Salle Classic, for me, is very good piece of fontina cheese, so the classic fontina of classic cheese of Aosta Valley, because it's very grass cheese, so the acidity of Prié Blanc clean the mouth, or plate with other charcuterie of Aosta Valley. It's very good also because are very grass, so clean everything in the glass of wine.
Delicious. Okay, so I've moved from the vineyard and I'm now in a warm ristorante, and I've got a glass of 2012 Morgex de la Salle. What do you think I would be eating in the restaurant?
With Blanc de Morgex de la Salle aging, for me is better something or to stay with the cheese, fontina cheese, but aging, so center more strong. Also with fish, like our Alpine treat is very grass fish, so is ideal with the acidity, but also had is an important plate, so the aging Blanc de Morgex de la Salle help balance this in the mouth every year.
Delicious. My mouth is watering. So your brother, Nathan, has a bottle named after him, and you also have a bottle named after you, Ninive. Tell us about your wine.
It's the best wine of the company, of course.
Naturally, yes, I know that.
Ninive is extra mature wine, so we make the harvest during the winter. We harvest frost grape during the night, so it's like ice wine method, and we press grape frost. With this climate change, it's not so easy to harvest frost grape, but we call it extra mature wine, so we don't have a problem to have the frost grape. But we decide also to harvest during the winter and during the night for add more concentration of sugar in the grape. Prié Blanc grape is not so sweet, so it's not a very sweet wine. It's more ideal for relaxing wine.
I'm sure, yeah. Okay, have I missed any other wines that you make at Pavese Figli?
We produce other wine, but with very small quantity. We produce the ceramic wine in the Cliver, so a particular cuvée is a maturation wine, but we produce 500 liter every 2 years, so very small quantity. And then we produce sette scalinate. Traduction is step, and is a reserve wine produced by our oldest vineyard. The vineyard is 100 years old, and we decided to keep this vineyard only for these wines, only for 7-step wine.
Yeah, I remember tasting that. That was fantastic as well, really. And 100-year-old Prié Blanc vines, Franco di Piede, is what a treat. Tell us briefly, what's your website? Where can people find you?
Our website is Hermes Pavese, so very easy.
Easy to find.
Yeah. You can find us also on Instagram and Facebook with the name Famiglia Pavese, so Pavese's family.
Easy to find. I haven't quite finished my questions yet, but I wanted to ask you about the website because there's a very distinctive image of you and your brother and your dad. And I've seen the image before when I visited the region. And it's a photo of the three of you, and you're dressed like, it looks like cowboys, like Western cowboys. Was that something you did as some fun, or was it traditional dress of the area where you are?
No, we have this hat, my dad liked to put, so he made a hat of a company like this. And then we have this shirt with the Pavese and Figli behind the shirt is our...
your costume.
Yeah, costume, exactly. Sorry. I lost the word in English.
That's okay. That's all right. Well, it's a lovely picture. It's very iconic, I find.
Also, my mom in the family, but she don't like so much make photos, so we are always in three. But in the company, we are in four.
I understand. You started your winery, which year was it? 1990, or your dad started in 1997, did you say?
1999.
1999, sorry. Prior to his involvement, his presence, there have been hundreds of years of Prié Blanc production. You said earlier that there are records going back to 1200, but it's only recently that the wine has arrived properly on the market, either within Italy or internationally. Can you tell us how that happened? Was that a deliberate choice by someone? Was your family involved in the development of Blanc de Morgex and La Salle commercially?
My dad, when he started the company in 1999, was the youngest company in the zone of Prié Blanc. So in the beginning, it was very difficult because the principal market of the Aosta Valle company is Aosta Valle region. So we go in the restaurant, but every restaurant, every marketplace had Prié Blanc from other winemaker because there was more time in the wine company. He had luck. He meet important importer of wine, USA wine, is Neil Rosenthal of Rosenthal Wine Merchant. When my dad met Neil, he decided to buy the wine and import in the USA. So we started to work with export, and now we work with USA, Canada, UK, something of North Europe, and Australia for the 50% of the production. So the 50% go in the export, and the other stay in Italy. Other luck of my dad is meet the distributor in Italy. He decided to have a whole region distribution. So we have the wine go in beautiful place in every region of Italy. So for us, it's more easy work. In Aosta Valle, we work not so much for the same region of 26 years ago. We give the market to other winemaker. They produce not so much quantity, so they don't have a lot of possibility to go out of Aosta Valle. The importance of Prié Blanc, of all the Prié Blanc, not also of Pavese Prié Blanc, it's important to drink everywhere Prié Blanc, to know something about Prié Blanc, because there is not so much Prié Blanc in the world. We have only us. So the important is to drink it not from us, the farm water, is important to drink.
Quite right. I couldn't agree more. Have you ever considered planting a different grape in your vineyards, or is Prié Blanc the only grape that can grow?
No, never. With climate change, there is the possibility in our zone can be growing up other typology of grape, maybe red grape also. But it's not in our interest to see this situation because Prié Blanc growing up only here in this two little town, Morgex and Salle, of height of Aosta Valley. We have only us Prié Blanc, so not important for us to discover other grape.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to keep it special, isn't it? So just to the listeners, if you ever want to visit, if you find yourself either skiing or maybe doing some mountain hiking in the Valle d'Aosta, then do get onto the Pavese Figli website and get in touch with Ninive. They've got a lovely little tasting room and a beautiful dog, Valle. The wines are superb. I highly recommend visiting sometime. And if you can find the bottles in your local wine shop, grab a bottle or two. They've got a very distinctive, pretty label as well, and you won't be disappointed. So, Ninive, I want to thank you very much indeed, and many compliments on your English as well. I know you were a bit worried before, but you've done fantastically, and it's been a really enjoyable interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you to invite me in this interview. Thank you for the question.
I hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I enjoyed that very much.
Thank you, Ninive and James. That was really wonderful. Thank you so much, guys, for spending time with us. For those who are interested to participate, just send us a DM through our EG or mail our Italian Wine Podcast producer at info@italianwinepodcast.com. Thank you so much again, Ninive and James. That was wonderful. And we'll see us soon. This is a wrap-up from Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you so much, and ciao ciao, alla prossima!
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.